your English improved a lot because when I met you in the beginning in the conversation club like B-Lab, right?
Yeah.
And now when you speak, and I can notice that the difference, your English is really improving. So um maybe I forgot. How long have you been learning English so far?
I did as a bit. Maybe like
Mm-hmm.
when I it might be like 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell like 2018 I failed the Great Dane Reset.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an English subject.
Mm-hmm.
So like right young 2023. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody how should I say like in my environment they are learning like English and also like Chinese and also
Mm-hmm.
Japanese. So I saw
Mm-hmm.
that they are learning that kind of English, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
language. The reason why they encourage me to arrive my goal. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
learn, and also I want to go another country. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's a birth. I did. Yeah,
So you started learning English in 2003. So far it's almost 3 years, and you learn
yeah,
English by practicing, by actually speaking with others. Why revise like this is because, including me, when we start learning English, we start by watching videos. I mean, teaching videos, and also movies, and by also using coursebook. And after learning, months later, we started practicing speaking. But the way you learn English is, I think, a bit different. You learn and you practice, you learn and you speak. That's why your English improved that much, I believe. Um, okay, so most English learner feel stuck their English level at around intermediate level. When they are intermediate level, they feel like their English is not really improving. I'm also, felt that way when I was intermediate level. I didn't see any progress, even though I had been learning English consistently, practicing with others, and I
yeah,
can't notice the, I mean, the real improvement. And when I research about this subject, about this matter, I mean, most English learners also feel that way, that English is not really improving at intermediate level. So it's called intermediate. So it's called intermediate plateau. It's like flat. You can't see any
yeah.
improvement. So my
Mhm.
question is very simple. Have you ever felt like that?
Yeah. I did. I, I feel like that kind of situation. I didn't. I'm like pre-intermediate level and also like intermediate level. I don't exactly know. I then you mentioned about I'm not improving anymore. I did. So but like I already like give it that in like maybe like watching videos and also like channeling, but I'm not improving. I think. But like it might be a little bit improved. I did. I don't exactly know. Yeah. But I feel like I'm not improving anymore like that. Yeah. That's it.
So we all have the same
Yeah.
feeling,
Yeah.
the same thought. And I have already make research about this belief or these feelings. Yes, most learners feel stuck at this level, and it's because in the beginning it's very easy to notice the
Yeah.
progress is very obvious when you start learning English and you were very motivated, and you can notice the words and the phrases and that you learn. And when you are learning in the middle of your English learning journey, you started feel it's difficult to see progress, right? Because you already
Yeah.
learned many things. And so
Yeah.
one of the teacher on YouTube said, I also take his recommendation is that it's if you want to improve your English level from B2 or from B1 to B2 or B2 or C1, you have to be very smart. It's not about learning coursework. So there are English learning course for like pre-intermediate level, B2, upper intermediate level, like that. There are many students that they have finished learning beginners level, intermediate level course, for also advanced level course, but their English, when it's come to speaking practically, their English speaking is not really at C1 level. And it's because they just learn in a traditional way. We need to learn English very in an innovative way or in a smart way. Like the teacher told me one thing, that learn English in chunks. What does that mean by that is when you don't just learn just word, but in chunks, like I believe that, then you add something. Or I think it's impossible, that's called chance. And then you add something you want to say. And another way is like, I agree with you 100%, and then you add something. I work as and then you can add one. If you are a teacher, for example, I work as a teacher. I work as that means chunk. And then you can add doctor or teacher. So that means chunk. So we should learn more about chunks and stop learning new words and phrases, but activate the vocabulary words and phrases you have learned. Then, because of the teacher's advice, I went back and stopped learning new things. I even had make a video about it. And then I started activating words and vocabulary. I have been learning, I think almost 5 years. And then I search chunks and also connected speech and also activating and using vocabulary in a practical ways. So that's the very smart way to reach, for example, B2 to C1. Just, I learn English by moving forward without actually using words and the phrase that I had learned in the past. So since I took the recommendation of the YouTube teacher, I went back and started activating words and vocabulary. And also he mentioned one thing, that how you can be an advanced speaker is when you look at dictionary. For example, you find a word controversial, right? I think you have had that word, controversial. So you have to learn everything about this word, like which preposition go with that word. For example, controversial. So the noun form of controversial is controversy. So the preposition with controversy is controversy over something, or controversy about something. When we learn word like this, which preposition goes with that word and how to use the structure, and we can become a great speaker or a great writer. You will not make mistake in writing because you already learn the word controversy go with the preposition over or about. When I look at a word in dictionary, I learn which preposition goes by with that word and the structure. Sometimes, for example, the word admit. I don't just learn the word admit in context, or you already know one thing, that we have to make our own sentences, right? That I will not talk about that. That one is already familiar with people. And when I learned the word MID, admit, I learned that way, admit to something, or I admit that clause. For example, I admit that I was wrong, like I admit that plus clause, or I admit doing something. So this is called structure. And also another structure about admit is it is admit that, and then we can add another sentence. So that's how we can become an advanced level of English student. So when you learn words, learn everything about structure, preposition, also activate what you have learned.
Yeah. Right. sometimes we read like vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't remember like when we are like conversation class at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Vocabulary. How did you do?
You have to be, for that one, you have to be a little bit selfish. It's my own personal way. I don't know other people like it or not to use this method. I will share it with you. You got to be a little bit selfish. Um, for example, you learn weather vocabulary today, sunny or drizzling or cloudy things, weather vocabulary. It is sunny today, for example. After you have learned vocabulary and you want to use this weather vocabulary with your speaking partner.
Yeah.
At the time, for example, imagine you are in Episodan English speaking app, and the topic is already given. Sometimes we don't discuss this topic. We just had, casual conversation, right? In Episodan app. Okay, that's one story. So you, after learning weather vocabulary, you are in Episodan app speaking with your speaking partner, like, hello, where are you from? And he will also ask you where you're from, I'm from where, things like that. And then you are aiming the vocabulary, the weather vocabulary, but you two are talking about two different things. At the time, you have to be very smart or, I don't know, selfish. Okay, so you are from, for example, Brazil and things like that. Okay, anyway, what's the weather like in your country? That means you change the topic because you want to use the weather vocabulary you already learned. So at the time, he'll
Yeah.
answer you, it's sunny or it's cloudy today. Even if he will not ask you, you can just go, oh, right? Here it's a bit, cloud. It was a bit cloudy in the morning, but it's getting warmer in the afternoon. I think there will be heavy rain in the evening. So you are creating opportunity to use the vocabulary that you have learned. Because if we do not create this opportunity like this, there will always be, when we speak with speaking partner, we often talk about different topics. So practicing speaking in episode applies episode, you can change the topic.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, see you in the future. Bye bye. Now you can leave. Yeah, thank you.